That is right.
All right.
Yeah, so I'm going to ask you a lot of different questions.
You're ready.
And
You're
I'm
rolling.
also going to share a little bit of, what I was saying is that I went to the Yale School of Forestry and Environmental Studies.
Ah, yes.
And I really wanted to go to Harvard to sit at your feet, which is the truth.
Yeah.
And the reason I didn't is because I got a fellowship, a full paid fellowship, to go to Yale, and I couldn't turn that down.
I'd call that pretty good. Full scholarship to go to Yale.
I don't know if they got that or not. Oh, we are, okay.
Now, where did you come from?
Colorado.
Ah,
Colorado. And so I got catapulted into public land policy through cattle ranching. Unbelievable.
huh?
But what it did is it really set me into nature on an everyday basis.
That'll do it.
That will do
I mean, if it's going to be done, that will do it.
Yes, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So half Earth is probably, I would say, of anything I've seen in my conservation work, conservation biology came into the lexicon, the 70s, early 80s, and that broadened
Yeah.
our view
That's right.
of large landscape preservation
Yeah.
and how necessary it was, because we were what we used to say is wilderness on the rocks. We'd protect a wilderness here and we'd protect a park over here, but nothing was connected.
That's right.
And we didn't know that.
Yeah.
We actually did not
No.
know that. So what you have presented to the world and all of the deep thinking that's gone into how to actually manage this, how to actually research it, how to actually map it.
Yeah.
This had to come from more than your previous work. This had to come from another place. What's that place?
I suppose that the other place is that I saw from the figures that were available that the world conservation movement, after it had gained a full head of steam over a period of several decades, still was only making what you would have to call slow, painful progress in stopping the hemorrhaging, hemorrhaging of species extinction.
Yes.
And it occurred to me, it was a legacy of my thinking on the roles of area and distance that were the ones that was the foundation of the theory of island biogeography by MacArthur and myself, Robert MacArthur, back in the 60s. It was that we could explain why there are certain numbers of species on a given island and not more or not less. And we had worked out pretty good, and it was accepted, the theory of what determines the number of species on an island and soon to see on a reserve or a park, which you can think of as an island. And with that in mind, I thought, well, maybe the way to solve the conservation problem, actually pull it off, stop this accelerating rate of species loss, would be to go for the key component, which we'd come to recognize anyway, of extinction, which is habitat loss, which fitted what MacArthur and I had, worked out early in the theoretical framework. So it occurred to me that, well, we just needed to have a lot more habitat for all these species. We're just going to have to enlarge it big time. So in a book called The Future of Life, it was published in 2002, I made that proposal. I thought, well, I'll get dumped on, or called to be something of a screwball for suggesting that half the earth could be set aside. But I did publish that and didn't get much of a reaction to it at all. I didn't even get criticism. So
it was too soon.
It started, yes, that was too early, and I was, it was lingering in my mind, and as the only possible solution over the years. So finally, I decided to make a full dress presentation of it, hence the book. But fortunately for its reception, by the time the book came out, it was just a few months ago,
Right.
a lot of other people, including conservation scientists or biologists, conservation biologists, really beginning in the earlier to middle 80s. Those people going in and doing the basic research there had begun to talk the same way, that we needed to have a much larger area.
Yeah.
And the book Half Earth dramatized that.
What was the inspiration behind that book?
Well, I wanted to save the species. The inspiration behind the book was I wanted to save the species. But I knew that people will respond much more decisively to a goal than they would to
Right.
just a bunch of successive reports of own progress. Saying, for example, the next flight being launched at Cape Canaveral will bring us within half the distance to the moon. The next flight next year
Exactly.
will. Everybody wanted to hear we made it. We landed on the
Yes,
moon.
exactly.
Everybody doesn't. Everybody smiles and feels pretty good when they're told progress is being made on Alzheimer's disease.
Exactly.
Another scientist find new cause of Alzheimer's,